and then really just understanding which of these platforms is going to be the best ROI for you. Hey guys, and welcome to this week's episode of Social Marketing. My name is Eric Hammond of the Orange Stack, and I appreciate you guys following along each week as we uncover how to use social media in your business. You know, there's so much you can do with social media. There's a lot of different platforms, and one of the things we're going to talk about today is really understanding your numbers and understanding where your audience is, understanding who your target market really is. So the interesting thing about social media is every month there's a new number of how big this platform grew, how many people are there, how many users there are, how many people are online at one given time, how much video content's digested, all these things. And you can spin different statistics into different ways of really looking at things. For example, the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, expressed, I think this was last year, that 31% of home shoppers online were between the ages of 25 and 34. Okay? That's great. They're online shopping, but are they actually taking action? Are they closing? The bigger side of that is that still leaves 69% of your audience being over the age of 35. So who would you like to target? The 25 to 34-year-olds or the 35-plus-year-olds who are probably more of what you're looking for because they're probably taking better action? So not only do you need to understand where your people are, but you need to understand who they are. And the other thing that NAR had to talk about in this stat was that the average age, well, not the average, the median age of a buyer was 43 years old and the median age of a seller was 44 years old. So if you're targeting that 25 to 34-year-olds because you read this stat and you said, oh man, 31% of these people are here, I'm going to go after the millennials, I'm going to find these potential buyers and sellers, you're missing the cut because the median age is 43 and 44, right? So it helps to know your numbers, and as we're going to get in today, it helps to know where they are and where these people are. So if you're now saying to yourself, let's target the 40-year-olds, where do these people hang out? That's what we're going to get into. So before you jump out and go say, okay, let's go find all the 40-year-olds on social media or ever they are, if they're reading the newspaper, if they're looking at billboards, where are the 40-year-olds hanging out? I know they're not looking at billboards, but where are they? You need to ask a couple more questions. And these are the questions that you should ask before you really jump into using any type of a social media platform. The first one being, how many users actually live in the US? You know, so we're going to get into a couple stats about Facebook and things like that, and I'm going to show you really how this applies. But think about, you know, if the platform says how many millions of users there are, how many of them actually live in the US? Because that's what you want to know. The next one is, where do these users live? Are they living in cities? Are they in more of the suburb area, or are they in an urban area? You know, something more, more rural. The next question is how old are they? You know, so if, for example, Snapchat claims that they've got 300 million followers on there, you need to know the breakup and the model of how many certain age groups are in each of these platforms. The next one is, how much money do they earn? So here's an interesting stat. The typical buyer actually, this is across the US, so it's completely different in LA than it is in Tennessee, but you get the idea. This is across the board. The typical buyer makes $88,000 per year, and the typical homeowner makes $103,000. This is total household income, not per person, okay? So now you're saying we need to target people who are making over $75,000 a year, ideally, and where are these people hanging out? Okay, so from these stats, we really need to audit the platforms that we're going to be considering. You know, the ones that you probably are thinking about, obviously, is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat is the big one. There's a whole bunch of other ones that are a little bit smaller, and there's new ones all the time. Maybe by the time you see this video, there might be something bigger than Facebook. You never know. But the point is you need to audit them, and you need to see what's going on. So the first thing that we want to look at from this is really breaking it down between buyers and sellers. And there's going to be a lot of overlap, but buyers agents, okay, this is speaking to you. If you're just working with buyers agents, think about it this way. You're going to want a large number of US population in the platform that you use. You're going to want the large share of its users to be around the age of 43, right? Because that's where the average buyer is. So if it's, 40 to 50, if it's 35 to 50, whatever that turns out to be, you want the largest selection of users on that platform to be around the age of 43. And you want the typical user to be making probably $88,000 a year, since that's where the buyers need to be to qualify for a home and be one of your clients, okay? If you're working with a listing and you're selling homes, again, large number of US population, you want a 45 and older demographic. 45 is the median age, older is probably better. In San Diego County, where I live, the average age of a seller is 72. So 45, 72, big range there. But if you could target that 45 to 65 range on your platform, that's really who you're looking for. And the next one is that, the household income of these platform users needs to be probably north of $100,000 $100,000 or more for them to qualify to be a good selling candidate for you, okay? So those are the things that you're looking for. So let's do a couple audits real quick. Let's look at Facebook number one. So I'm sorry, I got to keep checking my notes here. I just want to make sure I give you these numbers accurately. Currently, last time I checked, Facebook had about 2 point something billion users, okay? That's worldwide, everywhere. If you look at it just specifically to the US, it's 230 million users. So, you know, a little bit more than 10%, which is okay. The good thing is you can target just those users, but 230 million users across the US is a huge chunk of the US population, okay? So think about it that way. The largest group on Facebook is between the ages of 35 and 54 years old, and that makes up about 56-ish million people, okay? This is an interesting thing too. 75% of Facebook users earn more than $75,000 per year. Starting to add up, right? This is making sense, okay? The location of users is split pretty evenly between downtown cities and more urban. So either way, it's kind of a wash there. But basically, you know, if you're selling real estate and you're doing something with real estate, Facebook's probably your best bet. By my homework, it's probably the best place that has everything that you're looking for. Income, age, demographic of where they live, all that kind of stuff. It just matches up on Facebook. The platform's gotten older. When it first started, it was designed for college kids, right? Harvard, those kind of places. But it's getting bigger and it's reaching the audience that you're trying to qualify for. Okay, so that's Facebook. I'm gonna let you do some other homework here in a second, but we're gonna look at LinkedIn because that's kind of the forgotten social media platform. This is another good one. I'll give you a hint. It's actually a good place to be. So total monthly users on LinkedIn right now is about 250 million. Pretty good. Right now, 53% of LinkedIn users live inside the United States. Okay, so rough numbers, that's roughly about 130 million people on LinkedIn are in the US. So that's a good demographic. The primary user groups, so the biggest two percentages are 30 to 49 years old. That makes up 27% of the platform, and 50 to 64 makes up 24% of the platform. So right there, if you just targeted the 30 to 50 year olds and the 50 to 64 year olds, that's a little bit more than half the platform right there. Okay, so those are really good numbers. 40% of LinkedIn users earn more than $75,000 per year. So that's a really good number. 41% of millionaires use LinkedIn. That's huge, right? Millionaires, those are the guys you really want to work with because they're buying and selling houses. So, you know, if you think about it, CEOs, they're on there, they're hiring, people getting jobs are on there, they're looking. It's a great place to be. Bottom line is, if you're dealing with buyers or sellers, LinkedIn is probably your best friend. I'm not going to get into, you know, really what to say on LinkedIn right now, but it's great for video, it's great for blogs, it's great for content, and you can kind of separate yourself. People are looking on there, they're scrolling through stuff, they're reading how-to guides, they're doing all sorts of stuff with LinkedIn, so LinkedIn can be a great guide for you. Okay, so put out content that's going to be on LinkedIn, and it's going to help you convert some of these people who are on there. I'm telling you, like, half the users are probably somebody that you want to be communicating with, so why not start on LinkedIn? So you can do your homework on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, all these other platforms. Just know that these are the two strong ones. It kind of goes downhill from there. You know, obviously Snapchat is a very young demographic. It's usually the 13 to 25 year olds. So unless you're like super top of funnel and you're planning to sell a house to somebody in 10 years, Snapchat might not be the best option, but you should do your homework because it depends on who you work with. Maybe the city and the location that you are in hits that target. You just need to understand where your target demographic is and where they hang out and where they reside. So the key takeaways for me for this video is basically understand who your target audience is. You know, are they 60? Are they 20? Do they make $100,000? Maybe they're getting away with $40,000. There's some really affordable places to live in the United States, and there's some really expensive places to live inside the United States, okay? And then really just understanding which of these platforms is going to be the best ROI for you. It takes time. I was actually reading a comment from a post earlier today. How do I take advantage of using social media? And that's kind of what triggered me wanting to make this video for you guys today. I think she was struggling with what she did on social media and how she used it. And I just want to tell you that it is a long-term strategy. It's patience. It's a marathon. It's not post something today and have 6 leads tomorrow. It's like 12-month down the road business, guys. If you're planning on getting something out of social media today, you have the wrong tactics. It shouldn't be the main support of your business right now. It should be kind of a crutch to help you get further along in life and build your brand and speak to somebody who's 12 months out. It should be brand building, content awareness, all that kind of stuff. So use social media right and it'll work for you. Don't get impatient. Stay calm. Use social media. Figure out how to make some cool videos and you'll do great. So thanks for following along, guys. This video has been fun to make, and I think that as you do your own homework and figure out your target audience, you'll know how to better prepare for the audience that you're speaking to. You'll know how to address their concerns, give them the content that they need, just like I do for you. I research you. I follow you. I know what you're doing. I know what you're struggling with. That's how I make these videos. video is so impactful. So thanks for following along. We'll see you on the next one. Remember to share this video with somebody who's struggling with social media and not sure how to start it, and be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. Thanks for following. See you on the next one.